On this episode of Project BMW Jekyll Hyde, we remove the subframe from Dr. Jekyll and install some Condor Speed Shop bushings. And we find out if I have any of the infamous subframe tearing. But first things first, this place is a disaster, right? That's what happens when you pull an engine. So I'm going to clean it up.
Alright, we removed the drive shaft. Now I'm going to remove the brake lines and the wheel speed sensor attachments, which is actually pretty easy. I'm going to remove the handbrake cable so that we can... There it goes. There she comes. Boom. Now what?
The cable comes...
You just literally pull it straight through?
Yeah, it's just a line with a threaded piece on the end. We'll get that one loose first.
Go handbrake cables, and we pull them all the way through.
In theory.
There she goes.
We're going to remove the subframe and everything attached to it all at once. There's a couple different ways of doing this. The way that we're going to do it is we are going to... I disconnected the brake lines. I disconnected the wheel speed sensor wires. I'll show you down there in a minute. Remove the shocks, the rear shocks. What else did I do? I don't know. And there's 4 main bolts that hold the whole subframe assembly onto the bottom of the car. Okay, so we're going to support it first with the jack. Okay, something to be really careful of. When you have the car up on 4 jack stands like this, sometimes the balance isn't perfect, right? Well, I hope it is before you crawl under it. Always protect yourself with extra supports, or don't do this at all, so that I don't get in trouble. And then when you start to jack up the subframe and put any pressure on it, you can actually tilt it forward, especially if the engine's still in the car, which you would normally do. It's easy for the car to actually tilt up on the front jack stands. You don't want it to do that and then roll off the jack stands. That would be incredibly dangerous. So the engine's out of mind, and I've actually prepped the car so the front's a little bit higher, so the weight's more to the back, so I can put a little bit of pressure on the subframe, so when I go to drop it down, when I lift it up so that I can support it, it's not going to pick my car up off the jack stands. Going for a ride.
Alright, now you also need to remove the rear trailing arm attachments. Before you do that, sketch the outline of where it attaches onto the body. These are the rear trailing arm bolts that you need to remove. Okay, so these 3 get removed, and etch an outline around that so that you can put it back in the same spot as best you can. Otherwise your alignment will be completely off, and then always take your car right to an alignment shop right after you do this. What?
They're just pulling it.
Yeah, let those come out.
Ladies and gents, that is the subframe of the E46. All right, we are going to... I'm chuckling to myself in the editing studio because I just made that look way easier to remove on video than it was in real life. Remove the drive shafts, remove the differential, remove the sway bar, and then we're going to wire wheel this up, and we're going to repaint it, and we're going to put some Condor Speed Shop bushings in it. 3.15, that's the ratio of the differential.
I'm upside down.
3.15 is the ratio of the diff. All right, so I have a 3.46 in the drift car. I think I might keep the 3.15 on this, because I was getting some weird gearing last year at Cayuga that I didn't like. So I'm gonna try that for a season and see how I like it, or maybe I'll swap halfway through. I don't know. All right, let's take a look underneath here. Subframe is completely gone and off. Okay, I just took a look here a second ago. This is where your subframe cracking issues happen more often than not. The subframe torques on this giant bolt. Okay, mine are a bit rusted, but I do not have any subframe cracks whatsoever. Okay, which is pretty amazing. I'm just gonna
brush that up a little bit, and I'm going to make it look a little bit prettier. But otherwise, I do not have any what you would call subframe damage whatsoever. And this 325 has 400,000 kilometers on it. Okay. However, I'm about 99% positive that somebody did a manual swap at some point, so it probably spent its life as an automatic. So no one was doing any hard launches or any harsh engagements to the drivetrain. So that's probably one of the reasons why this hasn't happened. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to not reinforce these. Okay. I'm going to not reinforce my subframes. Two reasons. One, I don't have the tools here to do it. I don't have the time. And two, for your entertainment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just install some solid bushings, some Condor Speed Shop bushings, and I'm going to drive this car hard, very, very hard, and we're going to see how this holds up over the next couple years, all right? This will be a long-term experiment for us. But otherwise, I'm going to now... I'm going to hold this camera in a spot where you can actually see me. There you go. I'm going to clean this up, and I'm going to remove the bushings, and I'm going to do the subframe, dismantle everything, rebuild everything, make sure this car is clean and good, because I'm going to be carrying a lot of speed on the track with it, and I want to make sure that it is it's done properly and it's safe. All right, now the proper way to do this is to actually, you don't burn the bushing out. You want to actually heat the outside of where the bushing sits. And the purpose of this is not to burn the bushing, it's to actually boil the rubber in the bushing. You break it down and then it loosens up and it comes right out. I've got all these out so far, so I'm going to do this last one here and show you what I mean. All right, so we have, the proper way to do this is to sandblast it and get it powder coated, but I'm cheap and lazy at the same time, and when that happens, you end up with trim clad paint, which will probably come off eventually, but I can't imagine that I'm gonna be racing this car for a couple years and not have this whole thing come down again at some point anyway. This will do for now, not too worried, but that's okay. This car's never gonna see another winter. Oh yeah, spray paint. All right, following Condor's instructions to put these bushings in. I want to keep them nice and white. They're getting dirty already. All right, install bushing with smaller tubes in the rear. That's these. And there's a washer that goes on this side, so the counter bore is on the bottom. Okay, so I hammered that one in. Just tapped it with a mallet. I'm gonna put this guy in here. That was easy. I figured you'd want to be here for this. Put that much work into it.
No, I did the fun part. This is the boring part.
This is the fun part. This is the final stages.
This is the boring part. The boring part was smacking stuff. Whoa, are you smacking stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm interested again.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. You can be a pleasure.
All right. There they are. Subframe is done. Okay, they're a little bit dirty. I'm hammering, and the fact that I didn't let the paint dry because I'm impatient. But other than that, the subframe is ready to go back in the car with all the stuff attached to it. Let's do it. All right, I'm doing the rear trailing arm bushings here at the same time. This is the carrier, right? And then we're gonna get this bushing out. So I've done this before on my drift car. The way to do this is to, well, we're gonna try it. It doesn't always work. We're gonna drill some holes through the bushing, and then we're gonna take a ball joint press and we're gonna press it out. That is my plan for this one. I know this looks like a mess down here, but that's just the way it works. And we're just going to cut through the metal down to don't hit the casing of the bushing. Be really careful. Wear protection.
we go.
Which... Is there a way to do this? And that is a nice snug fit. Well designed. Look at that.
As they always say, installation is the reverse of removal. Couple of tips though. Don't forget to install the lower control arms before you bolt the diff in place, and tighten the 2 rear diff bolts before the big front one.
All right, 66 foot-pounds for those rear ones. So we will do that now.
Move the camera up here and look over here at what cold thing on warm. Well, if you use dinner motivation, you'll...
It's 57 there. I don't know if you can see that. There are, this looks weird, but I guess that's the way that's supposed to be. Also, I hammered that, that's why that's been. There's the rest of the subframe. I don't know if this is focusing or not for you, but there it is. It was a lot cleaner and greener when I was putting it up, but the process of putting up a subframe is a lot of work. I am going to have to come back and torque all of these, because I couldn't do it when it was on the ground. So you can be really careful with those. I almost stripped that one there so you can see that. Alright. Alright, diff bushings torqued, everything is torqued, mounts are torqued, and it's good to go. Alright everyone, that's all for today. I have the rear subframe back up and installed with Condor Speed Shop bushings. That's going to massively harden the way that the car feels on the road and on the track. And I've been told by Condor that those bushings are compliant enough that you can drive with them daily, and they're not so stiff that they will cause a lot of NVH. So we're done for now. I have... What else am I doing? Oh yeah, I'm going to move all the HSD coilovers from Mr. Hyde over to Dr. Jekyll. Sorry I haven't been doing much with Mr. Hyde lately. I just got to get this built and out of here so then I can really focus on the drift car. Next step is fixing up the engine and getting the engine back in Dr. Jekyll so that it is ready to start up. I'm going to get a tune. Headers are going on. It's going to be a full... I'm super excited to drive this car because it's going to be light, it's going to be rock solid, and it's going to be a pretty formidable track car. Kevin, if you're watching, Kevin was the guy that was here before. He has the Honda S2000, and I fought against him last year in Ontario Time Attack. Kevin, I'm coming for you. Be prepared. Anyway, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss any of Project BMW Jekyll and Hyde. There's tons of stuff. I'm basically showing you at some point how to do almost every single thing that you need to do on this car to prep it for the track. And even if you're not an E46 BMW person, you can still watch, because at the end, we're going to be doing some time attack, we're going to be doing some drifting, we're going to be doing some just proper hooliganism. All right, so tune in. See you next time.